Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Fan Juicer with Bardami. I'm your host, Rex, today. I'm substituting in for Ash, who unfortunately cannot be with us, but he's sunning it up in Italy somewhere. But today, welcome to another episode of Bardami's Fan Juicer. And today, I've been joined by four of our resident guests from across India, London, and India, where today we're going to be debating the upcoming white ball series that starts tomorrow with 3 ODIs followed by 3 T20s. So first of all, welcome Sanchit, Jin, Rav and Han. How are you all?
Fantastic, Rex.
Good. Everyone recovered from the World Test Championship. We've had a few weeks to get over that. Rav, how are you feeling?
Yeah, no, batteries recharged and ready to go. Firstly for this series against Sri Lanka, and then we've got England. So it's a big 2-3 months of cricket. So let's be ready.
Good. And Jin, you were with us down in Southampton. How are you feeling? You recovered now, ready for the white ball series?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, watching 6 days of Test cricket is totally different to watching a one-day international. So I was pretty tired, but recouped, resting, and ready for Nottingham in a few weeks.
Good stuff. And Delhi boy Ahan, right? You had your first Bardami experience, yeah? You managed to get into England on time for the World Test Championship. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, it was great fun. I thought I only managed to come for one day, but I really enjoyed watching the match with you guys. It was good fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it more this summer in the England tests.
All right, good stuff. And Sanchit, what were the scenes like in India after we unfortunately failed at the final hurdle again?
Well, I think before the last day, the 6th day, people were talking about the possibility of a draw, and nobody actually realistically thought that India could lose this match. So it was a pretty tragic few days after the final. But India is a cricket-loving country, so we recovered pretty well, and looking forward to this India versus Sri Lanka series. I know most of us are looking forward to the India-England series. That is the marquee tour, but this is also important in context to the T20 World Cup that is coming up.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely right. So bit of a strange situation, really, right? Because we're only a couple of weeks away from a huge Test series. Obviously, it's the start of another episode of the World Test Championship, right? We're the first series, so it's another round of the World Test Championship. But tomorrow, we also start a one-day series, right? I think the first thing I'll say is that it does really highlight the strength and depth of this Indian team, right? The fact that we've got a pretty big squad in England, almost ready to play, another Test series. But also, we've got a pretty big squad in Sri Lanka, right? Just about to start, another white ball series. So, look, I've never sort of experienced this in all the years I've been supporting, India, where we've got 2 big squads about to start 2 series pretty much at the same time, right? Rav, what do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, I think it shows the bench strength. And I think also we're playing in 2 different sets of conditions as well. So I think whilst we've got the guys in England, I think we've also got guys playing Asian conditions ready for a T20 World Cup. And also, we all talk about 2019 and we get upset about that, but we're now halfway towards the next World Cup in 2023. So I think there's now the opportunity to look at what the succession planning looks like for the side ahead of that. There will be some changes that are needed. And I think obviously at that, alongside the T20 World Cup in the UAE, are the 2 key events that we're going to try and learn a lot about in this series, and hopefully learn a lot about some of these players who we've seen it a lot in IPL.
Yeah.
Guys have made their names in high pressure cricket, but now we all know that India need trophies. So who can really make that difference and come in and get India across the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, listen, before we get into sort of debating who should be be selected for both squads, just the format of our show today, right? We're going to focus initially on who we believe should be selected for the ODI squad. We've got 3 ODIs coming up with Sri Lanka straight away, right? And then we're going to go into a little bit more detail around the T20 squad, because obviously we've just seen the announcement yesterday of the T20 World Cup groups, right? And we're only a couple of months away from the T20 World Cup starting, right? So today we're going to debate, out of this T20 World Cup series against Sri Lanka, who are the key performers that are going to potentially put their hand up and say, look, do you know what? I deserve a place in that spot, right? We've obviously got a few players in England that probably already think they're on the plane, but is there anybody that can put their hand up and say, do you know what? I deserve my spot on that plane? to the UAE, right? So we're going to spend a little bit more time debating sort of some of the youngsters, some of the newcomers in this Sri Lanka series squad, and then pick our sort of 11 for both those series, right? So before we kick off, this is the squad that's been selected for both the ODI and the T20 series, right? We've got some people that have been there for quite a while from a white ball format. You know, people like Manish Pandey's got another chance, right? I feel sorry for this guy. You know, he's consistently getting picked. He's never really had an opportunity in a big tournament for India. But again, he's got his chance there. He's in the squad again. But we also got some newcomers, right, that have been selected who potentially, you know, might put their hand up and say, you know what, I deserve a spot. You know, get me on that plane to the UAE, right? So I guess to start off with, let's start off with you, Jin, right? If you look at that squad, is there any names in that squad from a white ball series, particularly from an ODI perspective, that you think, you know what, that kid there or that player there has got a chance for the future?
Prithvi Shaw for me, it has to be the number one, right? The reason being, he's been the one that's been touted for the last, I don't know, 5, 6, and 8 years. You know, every, you know, ex-Indian cricketer has been going on about Prithvi Shaw. He's come through the under-19 ranks, etc. He's got a bit of a bad boy image, right, which I think has impacted the way people perceive him. However, I think he'll be, you know, it'll be sad for Indian cricket if, you know, we cannot develop this guy. So he excites me. Surya Kumar Yadav, you know, IPL, he's absolutely smashed it. He's had a good start to his international career. So he excites me. I've been you know, going to the one senior player that we have in this squad, Shikhar Dhawan, who's the captain, right? I've been very critical of him. However, he's now become one of my favorites because the last 2 or 3 series and the IPL, he has been the one top order Indian batsman that's changed his game. He's added a few shots to his armory. He's realized that he has to get a move on. And based on that, his strike rate's gone up. So, you know, with him, I think, you know, maybe a Prithvi Shaw, even Ishan Kishan excites me as well. You know, he came, you know, he played with a bang. Manish Pandey, I think his time's up, to be honest. I'd be surprised if he made the Indian top order for the World Cup.
All right, so listen, we're debating right now, you know, the ODI squad, right? And I want to spend sort of 5 minutes just coming up with what we think our 11 should be, right? So I'm going to task you as the coach and as, I guess, the team captain for the starting of the series tomorrow. So let me start with you, Sanchit. Who would be your openers for the ODI series starting tomorrow?
I think obviously it's going to be the 2 star men of this squad, that is Shikhar Dhawan and the man in red form, that is Prithvi Shaw. So these 2 are definitely going to be my starters, and I think we might look to change up with our opening slot if we are in a comfortable position. And knowing Rahul Dravid, sir, I think he will try to get in one of the youngsters in the later part of the tour. But I think for starters, I think Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw, the two successful duo for Delhi Capitals as well, has been playing really well for as a pair. So I think they are going to do a splendid job for India as well.
Yeah, you know, actually, really good point, right? Sometimes we forget that we've got Rahul Dravid as coach out in Sri Lanka. Raf, from your perspective, who would be your openers? Do you agree with Sanchit and Jin?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that those 2 should start. I think that Sanchit makes a good point that we need to get other guys in there as well. So I think that as the series goes on, there will be opportunities given. But I think Shaw really, we'll start thinking of him as the kind of heir apparent to that opening position and giving him the opportunities, because we all know he's got a lot of talent and he was smacking hundreds not too long ago. So I think let's test that out. And I agree with what Jin said about Shikhar. I think he deserves a lot of credit for kind of looking at areas of his game that maybe with the help of Mr. Ponting could have helped him accelerate a bit further. So I think India can gain a lot, and more importantly, can we make those strong starts in the first 10 overs, which really we know is the modern brand of cricket in ODIs.
Yeah, absolutely. Ahan, what about yourself? You always like an alternative opinion. Are you going with the rest of the guys, or have
No,
you got
no,
a slightly different view for the openers?
they've all chosen the Delhi Capitals opener, so I'm going with that for sure. But I do think if we're going to trial players, like they're all saying, I think the ODIs is the time to do that. I really don't think there's any benefit to India in giving Devdutt Padikkal or Ruturaj Gaikwad a game in the T20. They're just going to add to the headaches if they manage to score like a 50, because one game or two games is not enough to judge someone for a World Cup spot. And if you give like let's say if you give Padikkal a chance and he scores like a 30 or 40, there's going to be talk, oh, Particle should win the T20 squad, and it's just adding to headaches because really one game you can't select them on the basis of one game. So I'd say if you're going to give these young guys a chance, like give them a chance in the ODIs. So I can see them like giving maybe second, if we win it, if we're 2-0 up or something, I can see them giving Gaikwad and Particle and all a go in the maybe the third match, just to give them some exposure to international cricket.
All right, good stuff. So that's a good start where we're all in agreement for the openers. For the ODI series that starts tomorrow. What about the middle order then, right? Is there anyone here that's putting up their hand, looking a little bit further ahead in a couple of years' time for the 50 over World Cup in India? Let's go back to Sanchit. What's your view? Who would you have in your middle order for the ODI squad?
I think for starting off with the tour, I'll have Surya Kumar Yadav at number 3, Sanju Samson who will keep the wickets at number 4, and Manish Pandey at number 5, because I feel that this is the stable lineup that we could go in with from the first ODI onwards. And we often forget that we are looking forward to the T20 World Cup, which is just around the corner, but we are forgetting about the 2023 World Cup as well, knowing that the ODI Super League that is currently going on with just three matches per series. It might look like it is just 2 years away, but with the amount of matches that are going to be played in the next 2 years, I think we have to start building for that 2023 World Cup as well from right now. And I think this is the perfect start for us to rebuild that team. So I believe someone like Surya Kumar Yadav, I think he has had sensational last 2 or 3 years. So I think he will be my pick at number 3 in absence of someone like Virat Kohli, of course. And no, as I'm a die-hard Rajasthan Royals fan, I'll have my say on Sanju Samson as the wicketkeeper for the ODI series. We haven't seen much of Sanju Samson in the 50-over format. We have seen him in the T20s, but I feel that he's just maturing. I think if we compare it to the Sanju Samson of the past, I think he's 26 years old, and I think this could be the perfect kickstart that he could need for his Indian cricket team journey. So I believe having Sanju Samson start off at number 4 should be a great booster. And I think Manish Pandey at number 5, I think it has been working really well. Though I think Manish Pandey was inconsistent since the time he has made his debut. But I actually have one stat which I got from Twitter. So the stat says that the number of ODI series that India has played since the time Manish Pandey made his debut, that is 2016, we have played 26 ODI series, and in those 26 ODI series, 16 ODI series were in those 16 ODI series, Manish Pandey was a part of the squad, and only out of 16, only 4 ODI series where Manish Pandey played all the matches in that ODI series. So we haven't actually given Manish Pandey a longer rope as compared to other players. So maybe it wouldn't be no harm to give Manish Pandey all the 3 matches at number 5 and just see what it could mean for him. But I believe that this could be the last chance for him if he fails, because lots of players are there in the running. I think someone like Ishan Kishan could be a potential number 5 as well for Team India in the longer run.
Interesting points that you make there, Sanchit. I mean, look, the World Cup is only 2 years away, I guess, right? 2 years in October, I believe. It's an October World Cup this time around. Jin, from your perspective, do you agree with Sanchit with Sky at number 3, Samson at 4, and Pandey at 5? It's an interesting point, being part of so many white ball series squads, but not really getting a proper chance to play in a full series. What's your view on the number 3, 4, 5 for the ODI series?
Sky, definitely. Agree with Sky. He's a fantastic batsman. I think he's got good defense, rotates, when playing the spinners, got the big shot as well. So I think he has to be developed for a potential spot 2023. Sanju Samson's the one where I think, okay, would I have Samson or would I have Ishan Kishan? I'm probably going Ishan Kishan. Reason being, I think Samson I find very frustrating. Like every single IPL, he starts with a bang, right? And you think, okay, this is going to be Samson's IPL. And then third, fourth game onwards, right? He smashed a few 50s, high 80 or whatever, and then he starts flopping. So I don't know. Is it a temperament thing? If is it fitness that he starts really well but can't continue the form? So based on that, I'll probably give Ishan Kishan a go. Manish Pandey, I get Sanchit's point again, but the way I see it is Manish Pandey is very unlucky, right? He scored a match-winning 100 in Australia, which not many international players do. Forget Indians, international players don't do that. But since then, he's been out of favour, and I just think to myself, is this Manish Pandey better than Manish Pandey in 2019, 2018? I don't think so. I think, IPL-wise, he's going down. So I'd much rather develop a Gaikwad or someone like that. Even if it's out of position, I'd much rather develop them for the future because I can't see Manish Pandey being there 2023.
So the question is, do you think Gaikwad is one for the future? Do you think he's got potential for that World Cup squad over someone like Manish Pandey? Because that's the variation you're giving us, right? From Sanchit's
yeah,
squad.
I mean, look, he's shown glimpses, at Chennai Super Kings, and he's another one. A lot of people talk about him. They think he's the next star for CSK. And being a big Dhoni fan, right? I'm sure Dhoni's had a part to play in getting him over at CSK as well. So he's a good reader of talent. So based on that, I'd probably go Gaikwad, Sky, Gaikwad, and Ishan Kishan.
In that order?
Yeah.
Perfect. And Rav, what's your view? Do you agree with Sanchit? Would you give Pandey another shot? Have Sky at 3, Samson at 4, or you got a different opinion?
So I've definitely got Yadav at 3. I think that he's, as the guys have said, he's somebody who helps us maintain momentum in the middle overs. So I think the way he plays spin, the kind of inside-out shots, I think he's a really good player to watch. So he's at 3. I would like to see more about Ishan Kishan. So I'm going to pick Kishan at 4. And then I just think that at 5, there may be an option, and I'm going to throw a left field thing out here, is that Nitish Rana, I think, is in the ODI squad, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna throw a left field option there. I'm gonna play Nitish Rana at 5. I think he's in there. And because I want the off break option as well, because he can bowl a bit. So I'm gonna try somebody else at 5. Because I've always been a fan of his. And I think that in a similar way to how we look at Kishan coming from the T20 format, I think Nitish Rana deserves a little bit of a shot too. So I'm gonna bat him at 5. Okay,
so you basically are picking Sky at 3, Kishan at 4, and Rana at 5. So Rana, he's been phenomenal, obviously, in the IPL. He's been playing really, really well over season after season. You want to give him a shout. Ahan, what about yourself? Who would your 3, 4, 5 be?
So I mean, I think I can see them going 2 ways. I'd say I'd agree probably with Sky at 3, and then I think for me I'd start Samson because I think he's in the ODIs at least. I'd start Samson because I think he's just probably a better ODI player than Kishan, and I think Samson has been kind of unlucky as well with the Indian team because he's always been given the role where he has to go for it, which means it's a higher risk and there's more chance of him failing. But he doesn't get the long rope that you should get if you're playing that kind of role. So I think Samson I'd play at 4, and number 5 I'm kind of confused. I'd put down Manish Pandey, but I can see them going Kishan as instead. So you play Samson and Kishan at 4 and 5 because it gives you right hand left hand combination. And Manish Pandey, really, I mean, as Jen said, I don't see the future to it. He might play, even if he plays this well, there's no future for him in the team. He's getting older as well. He's not getting any younger. But I could also see in an alternative way, I could see them playing Padikkal at 3. So you play Padikkal, Sky, and then Samson as 3, 4, 5 because that gives you another option. And you get a left-hander in at 3 because I think Padikkal can open here. But if they want to give him a shot at number 3 in a 50-over game, I think that's more than he's more than capable of batting at 3 as well.
Interesting. So who would be your 3, 4, 5 then, huh?
We've missed one guy though. We've missed a guy.
Sky, Samson, Kishan.
Sky, Samson, Kishan. So two wicket-keeper batsmen in your squad. Jin, come in.
We've missed one guy, Hardik Pandya.
No, he's 6.
Right?
He's at 6.
Yeah, but we say he's 6. But if you look at the recent especially the 2020s, he's been batting higher up the order. You know, in the World Cup, he was batting higher up the order. But I guess that's more to do with they look at the number of overs. So if it's kind of 35 plus, then Hardik comes in, maybe, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I also think it's if he's bowling. If he's not bowling, he bats at 5. If he's bowling, then he'll bat at 6.
Yeah. Well, listen. So far, we've pretty much together in terms of our openers, in terms of Darwan and Prithvi Shaw. I think we're all in agreement at Sky at number 3, although Nahan did throw a little bit of a curveball talking about Bannical potentially coming in there. But let's just go with Sky at 3. Then we've got 2 for saying Samson at 4 and 2 of you saying Ishan Kishan at 4. So which one's it going to be, guys? Are we saying Samson or Ishan Kishan at 4?
Samson.
Experience, I think we have to back experience.
Samson. Right, so we got Sanchit and Ahan with Samson and Jin and Rav at Kishan. Let's make a decision, guys. Who's it going to be?
Kishan plays for the wrong IPL team. I think we should stick with Samson.
I'm happy to start Samson. I think, for the idea that we need to get a view on can he produce that consistency for India, I don't have a problem starting Samson.
All right, so Rav has just tipped it over. Samson at 4. But then I guess the question is, who do we have at 5? Because we've got 4 different names. We've got Pandey from Sanchit, Gaikwad from Jin, Rana from Rav, and Ishan Kishan from Ahan. So who do we go with at 5? We've got a real mixture there.
I think you should decide. You should be the deciding vote.
If I'm the deciding factor, right? I think for me personally, I'd like to see someone like Manish Pandey have a full series. Yeah, I want to give him a go. I think I think we lack sometimes experience in our squad, right? And sometimes we go for youth and a player who potentially is the next big thing for India. And I think sometimes when I look back at sort of where our failures have been, is we've never not had that level-headed experience that we require. Let's just take 2019 World Cup, right, as an example. Yeah, we did throw Rishabh Pant in the mix in a semi-final scenario. He came away bang bang, but then he got out, right? If we had experience of Manish Pandey, could he have done something slightly different and seen through sort of that period of time where we needed the scoreboard ticking over, and then bring in someone like Dhoni and Jadeja at the end to do their thing? I don't know, right? Maybe we need a bit of experience in the squad, right? We kind of lack that a little bit. If you think about the potential, players that we have who are available with experience in the ODI squad. So, I'm going to go with Sanchit and I'm going to say Manish Pandey. If it's my pick, I'm going to have Pandey at 5. But in this series, let's give him 3 matches. Let's see how he goes. Yeah? And then we can think again. So let's get to 6, 7, and 8 then. Who are 6, 7, and 8? Let's start with you, Sanchit.
I think at 6 and 7, I'll have the 2 Pandya brothers in my side. Hardik Pandya, we have seen how well he has developed as a limited overs specialist. I think we all talked about Hardik Pandya, the all-rounder, but after the injury, lots of pressure was on him to deliver with the bat because it was the only role that was given to him. But I think he has done it sensationally well. And I remember one innings that he played in South Africa in a test match. I think that actually showed us the caliber of Hardik Pandya as a batsman. So I think he's going to have a bigger role to play in this limited overs leg for this particular series and also for the years to come. And I read somewhere that he might be bowling also in this tour. So I would like to see him maybe bowling 4 or 5 overs in the ODIs and maybe bowling all the 4 overs in the T20s as well. So Hardik Pandya is going to play a crucial role at number 6, and at number 7, I'm actually kind of split between having someone like Krishnappa Gautam and Krunal Pandya. Between them, I think if I have to play one for the starters, I'll have Krunal Pandya just because of his ability to bat. I think with the kind of experience that he has had in the IPL and in pressure situations. Sorry. So I feel having both the Pandya brothers at 6 and 7 would be the ideal choice in the starters. And at number 8, we got the vice captain Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. I think he's been splendid in the limited overs format, and I really loved his comeback in the England series as well. So he's going to play a crucial role with the ball and as well as with the bat. We have seen him playing those crucial innings with the bat, and just a few years ago, I remember his partnership with Mahendra Singh Dhoni to win us that game against Sri Lanka in 2017. So I think he's going to be pretty handy with the bat as well. So these are my number 6, 7, and 8.
Brilliant. Look, I think it's hard to leave out someone like Kunal Pandya after what he did in the England series, right, recently. What about yourself, Jin? Do you agree with that 6, 7, 8? Do you agree with Hardik, Kunal, and Bhuvi?
Definitely. Pandya brothers, Hardik, has been a favourite of mine for a long, long time. Hard-working cricketer. I think Krunal, since his father's death, seems to be even more motivated. His batting's come along in the domestic tournament, and they're winners. Both these brothers are winners. Like they've won a lot with Mumbai Indians, and sometimes that's what Team India lacks. They lack, guys that have gone over the line and won big trophies. Which these two have. And Bhuvi, I mean, again, it's just sad he's kind of been injured for the longer form as well, but he's a quality cricketer, brilliant. I mean, like you said, England series, I think he was the difference. You had in the high scoring games, it was Bhuvi was the one that, even the English team who have been smashing the any bowler all around the park, right? I mean, yesterday you had a English B team that were made a fist of it against Pakistan, and this guy Bhuvi just came in and they didn't have a clue. So yeah, you can't argue with these 3 picks.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about yourself, Rav? Do you agree, Hardik, Kunal, and Bhuvi? Are those 3 fixtures for the World Cup squad in 2 years' time? Do you think they're pretty much, with their experience now, they're guaranteed to be in that squad for the World Cup and the build up to the World Cup, more importantly?
So I agree with 6 and 8. I do have a slight concern on. I don't think Kunal's going to be able to bowl 10 overs in an ODI, but I don't think that may be needed. So the only thing I would say, I think his batting is fine for 7, but he probably needs to develop a little bit more because he tends to bowl kind of darts, which obviously is very kind of T20-esque. So I don't have a problem with him at 7, but I do think that longer term, at 7 for the 2023, I'm not quite sure about that.
So who would you pick? Here's the squad in front of you, Rav. Anyone else that you'd put in that 7 position, or is it a case for this series he's the option to start with?
For this particular series, I'd start with him and bring Gautam in because I think he's got great potential as a spinning all-rounder as well. But I think if you obviously look at, we've got a lot of players in England who would be in possession, Jadeja, etc., who would be in possession of that 7 slot. So whilst it's kind of, obviously he'll play this series, I do think there'll be more competition from outside this squad for a number 7 spot for 2023.
All right, brilliant. All right, so we've got 3 people agreeing for the start of this series with Hardik, Kunal, and Bhuvi. Ahan, are you going to make this difficult for us, or are you going to go with the same 3 for 6, 7, 8?
No, I mean, I've got Hardik at 6 as well. I have Bhuvi as well, but I wouldn't bat Bhuvi at 8. I'd back Deepak Chahar ahead of him because I just think, but that's a technicality minor. I think he's a better batsman, so he can bat at 8 ahead of Bhuvi. Again, I have the same issue at number 7. I don't think Krunal can bowl 10 overs, so it really depends. If Hardik's bowling, then fine, you can play both of them because they bowl 5-5 each. But otherwise, I think Gautam's the better. He's probably the better bowler. Maybe the slightly worse batsman, but I think it also for me it'll be about what Sri Lanka are playing. If they have a lot of left-handers, then I don't trust Krunal at all. He'd get taken apart. So I'd play Gautam just because he can spin it away from the left-handed batsman. And we've anyway got, and the rest of my team has people spinning it into left-handers. So I think if as a variation, I'd probably, if Gautam is, for me it's a toss-up between Krunal and Gautam. I honestly wouldn't be angry either way.
Okay, fine. Well, for the purpose of moving forward, let's just go with Krunal for now.
Yeah.
So let's think about sort of 9, 10, 11. I guess this is where the debate starts really for me, right? Because, for the last few years, the spinning twin spins of Kulchar pretty much, picked themselves in this white ball squad, right? Particularly in sort of ODI format, right? But of late, there's a lot of Indian fans that are questioning whether it's now time to move on from this. Let's just bring up that squad one more time, right? Let's take a look. Are there any sort of spinning options there that you think, would break up that Kulchar combination for this series? It's Sri Lanka, so we know that the pitches will probably take turn, right? So more than likely we'll go in with at least 2 frontline spinners and potentially an all-rounding spinner like Krunal. But is there anyone else that we would pick there in front of that Kulchar combination? Let's kick off with Sanchit. What's your view, Sanchit? Would you go with the spin twins of Kulchar, or would you mix it up a little bit? What's your thoughts?
I think my number 9, 10, 11 are going to be pretty different from the guys over here. So I'll have Navdeep Saini at number 9 in the just in the ODI leg, because I feel Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Deepak Char are kind of similar bowlers, and I feel uh, Deepak Char would be more of a threat in the shorter format as compared to the in the ODIs, because I would like to see more of Navdeep Saini in the longer format. We know that Saini has express pace, and the only thing that he lacks is discipline. So I think this is the best chance for someone like Navdeep Saini to get in the groove and maybe perform really well and just be in the eyes of the selector for the 2023 World Cup. So I'll just give Navdeep Saini all the 3 games and have Deepak Chahar for the T20 leg. And my 2 spinners are going to be, one of them is going to be Kuldeep Yadav, because that poor guy is on low on confidence, and what a better way to get him back into the groove by giving him all the 3 matches in the ODIs. Not sure about the T20 one, because we're only going to play 3 T20s before we take the flight to UAE for the World Cup. So I'll have Kuldeep Yadav play all the 3 ODIs. And for the second spinner, I'm actually in a split between Yuzvendra Chahal and also Rahul Chahal. So maybe if India would like to have Yuzvendra Chahal play all the 3 ODIs because of his experience of bowling 10 overs, I think that might not be a bad option as well, because Chahal is also pretty low on confidence. So the 3 ODIs could prove out to be a good thing for both these 2 spinners, because we are kind of lacking the quality in our spinning options. So this 3 ODIs is going to be pretty crucial. But for the T20s leg, I'll definitely start someone like Rahul Chahar in place of Yuzvendra Chahal, because Rahul Chahar has had really good years in the last 2 or 3 years, especially with the Mumbai Indians. So maybe I'll have Rahul Chahar in the T20s, while Chahal and while the Kulcha combination works their way in the ODI format.
All right. Well, we'll come to the T20s in a second. But pretty good balanced side there, Sanchit. There, you've got 2 spinners, 1 spinning all rounder. You've got fast bowling all rounder, and you've got Bhuvi and Saini with the pace as well, right? So pretty good all round side there. Jim, do you agree with Saini, Kuldeep, and Yuzi at your 9, 10, 11?
I'd probably not go Yuzi. I'd probably give Rahul Chahar a go, because I think we all know what Chahal does. We know what he offers. So I'd like to see what a new leg spinner offers, right? I would pick Kuldeep, because I think one of the saddest things that's happened in Indian cricket in the last 2.5 years has been the downfall of Yadav. I think he's such a talent. He could be a match winner. Somehow, I think India need to instill the confidence in him to try and get him up to, the 2018. Like I watched a game, I think it was at Trent Bridge one day, right, when he took 6 wickets against England. We need to get him back to that level of kind of performance. So you can only do that by playing the guy. Very like in the last few years, we've picked him in the squads, but like in Australia, he was in the squad from day one, and he did not get a game, right? So I think we need to get confidence back. And I'm happy with Saini as the seamer. I think Sanchit makes valid points about Chahar being similar, seam bowler to Bhuvi. So to give it a bit of variety, again, Saini, I think, is another one that can be a big asset to us.
So Saini at 9, and your 10, 11?
Would be Kuldeep and Rahul Chahar.
Rahul Chahar. All right, brilliant. And Rav, what about yourself? You going to go with Sanchit with the Kuldeep Yuzi combination for the ODIs, or are you going to mix it up a little bit?
So I'm going to play Kulcha just so that we have a really clear idea on where they're at, both of them. Because whilst I really agree with what Jin just said about Kuldeep, and that he's got age on his side. We've got to really kind of reinvigorate him and get him ready, because he's got the ability to win games for India. So,
sorry,
a youngest who wants to know.
He shares a name with me.
Yeah, he does.
I think I'm going to play Kuldeep because I agree we need to get him back to where he needs to be. I'm going to play Chahal because I don't think I'm going to play Yuzvendra Chahal in the other leg. So that's why I'm going to play him. And then in terms of a seamer, I really agree about getting that consistency on flat pitches for Saini, because he's going to be playing on some flat pitches in tournaments for India in the future. So let's get that kind of discipline. He's got the pace. It's obviously now about getting that consistency to his game. And like you say, like the guys have said, we've got a swing bowler at number 8 already. So Chahar can probably fit into that T20 leg. So I'm going to go Saini at 9, Kuldeep at 10, and then Yuzvendra Chahal at 11.
Brilliant. All right. So we've got some consistency there in sort of the 9, 10, 11 slots pretty much. Ahan, what about yourself? Would you mix it up a little bit, or are you going to be sort of consistent with the rest of the guys?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, spinners, I am consistent. I want Kuldeep and Chahal because I think they deserve it. Because I think like they deserve one last shot at it. I think Kuldeep is honestly perilously close to being dropped, and for the long term. So I think he needs. You need to give him the series, and I think you need to play them both together. Because the thing is, they were really good when they were playing together, and then once you started separating them and playing 1-1, they both have kind of fallen off. So I think they need to both be given a shot together to see what they do. In the ODIs. And again, I'm not going to pick either of them, or I'm only Max going to pick one of them for the T20s. So I want to give them the ODIs. And I also think, I don't think Rahul Chahar is a 10 overs bowler. I don't think the other spinners in the squad are 10 overs bowler either. So I'd give them both. But I honestly, this might be controversial. I think Saini is overhyped madly. I don't think he's that good. Yeah, he's got pace, but that's about all he's got. He doesn't do anything else. And he bowls so many beamers. He's got no control, no discipline. He's like what Umesh Yadav used to be earlier, and Varun Aaron used to be earlier in 2013-14, where they just bowled with pace, but there was absolutely no control. On that, they'll take you wickets, but otherwise they can be all over the place. And I think against the Sri Lanka squad, they're honestly not that good. I think you need control and someone who can put it in the right place. And even though Bhuvi and Deepak Chahar might be similar kind of bowlers, but they're both very, very talented. So I'd go with both of them. And if you want the mix-up, then I'd play Sakaria, not Saini, because he gives you a left-hand option. But for me, I'd start Bhuvi and Deepak Chahar because they also both give you batting as well.
Typical Ahan there, not holding back, letting us know exactly how he feels about Saini. Listen, I kind of agree with you to a certain degree. I have to say, Ahan, I mean, I was massively excited. I think I mentioned it on some of our forums that, Navdeep Saini is going to be the next big thing. And then he got a bit of a run in the side, and he just didn't take that opportunity, did he? I think there was, like you said, there was inconsistencies in his performance. He just didn't really take the opportunity. Now, maybe the fact that he needs a bit more of a run in the squad, that might help him. Maybe a bit of pressure away from some of those seniors might help him. But I kind of understand where you're coming from, Arne. I have to admit, I don't know if anyone else agrees that. Is Saini the option now because he's the best option in this squad? Is he got a future? Is he someone that we can rely on potentially for 2023? I think there's some better options out there right now, if I'm really honest. I don't know what everyone else thinks. Thoughts, guys?
I just think the sample size, of playing for Team India is still pretty small. So I wouldn't write him off just yet. I think at the moment in Indian cricket, I think we have this problem where we're giving the senior guys too much of a long rope, and with some of the junior guys we're like, if they don't deliver in 5 games, we're like writing them off. So I think I'd probably give him a bit more opportunity before taking a call. But I share your frustrations as well. I know what you mean. He had a decent IPL, and people thought he was the next best thing, and he has been a letdown so far. But I wouldn't write him off just yet.
Yeah, just before we move on, Rav, I mean, a few people on our socials are talking about Sakaria and giving him a chance. Right time to do that? What do you think?
Not in ODIs for me. I think he had a kind of breakout IPL tournament, and I think he's done really well there. I'm certainly going to consider him for the next part of this conversation. But I think again, in terms of on a really, really flat wickets in Sri Lanka, 10 overs is quite an ask, and I think him, just like Krunal Pandya, I kind of see for kind of making up overs. And if you're going to bowl somebody at number 10, 11, they're going to have to bowl 10. So I just don't quite see it yet, but certainly in consideration for the next squad.
All right. Okay. So listen, we have an ODI series versus Sri Lanka 11 selected by the Bar Derby faithful on this show. I'm just going to go through that with you. So we've got Dhawan opening with Prithvi Shaw, We've got Sky, the very exciting Sky at number 3. Really excited to see him have a bit of a run in the squad now as well. Let's see what he can do. We've got Sanju Samson at 4. And then we've got Manish Pandey, which is my pick, at 5. Then we've got Hardik, Krunal, Bhuvi, Saini, and Kuldeep and Yuzi as our 11 to kick off this white ball series against Sri Lanka starting tomorrow. Happy with that, guys? What do you think, Sanchit? Very, very quickly. 2 words, happy, thumbs up. Pretty much your squad, right? Jin, Rav, what do you think? Happy with that squad?
Happy
Happy.
All right, Ahan?
Yeah, I'm happy with that, except the semi thing, but yeah, I'll take it.
All right, well, we'll go with Saini. Let's hope he proves us wrong, right? Both me and you. All right, so listen, that brings us to the end of the first part of this show, right, which was to pick that ODI squad, looking a little bit further ahead to the World Cup, but also thinking about the T20 World Cup, right? We've just seen the announcements, like I said earlier on, that we are selected to play our biggest rivals, Pakistan. We've also got New Zealand and we've got Afghanistan. Potentially, we could have an all-Asian group if Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, finish where they need to finish. We could end up having an all-Asian group with New Zealand, sort of jumping in as well. But let's look ahead for the T20 World Cup, right? Let's think about, out of this 11 that we have selected for the ODIs, who would you take out from that? And who would you replace for the T20 series coming up, with an eye on the T20 World Cup? So Sanchit, first of all, I guess let's start with, the openers. Would you think that they're, very, very quickly, are they fixed for the opening slots for T20? Do we need to debate that, guys? Is Panikel a shout potentially for the T20 series? Does anyone think he should be coming in ahead of maybe Shaw? Won't be Dhawan, obviously, right? Because he's going to be skippering, right? But Prithvi Shaw make way for Panikel, or does everyone give a thumbs up on Shaw and Dhawan?
I just want to raise one thing, which is I think somebody made it in the ODI section about 1, 2, 3 playing all of them. There may be an option of batting Dhawan at 3 and playing Panikel and Shaw. And fitting him in that way and really getting a view of what Panikel can do opening for India as well. So that's an option, and you drop Dhawan down to 3.
Yeah. Anyone think that will happen? Or do we think that Dhawan and Shaw are slotted in to open in the T20s as well? Anyone got a variation on that?
No, I would keep those 2 because I think they're the only 2 who have a realistic shot at getting into the World Cup. I can still see Shaw getting a shot at the T20 World Cup. But I don't think Panikel's played enough to get that shot, and I don't think 2 or 3 games is fair on him or fair on anyone else if you give him 2 games, because if he plays well, there'll be so much talk. As I said earlier, there'll be so much talk about him getting this slot or he should get this slot. But there's so many options, and in India, it's kind of like very reactive. Like you see someone do it recently well in like 2 games, and you're like, oh my god, he should be there, but you forget that the guy who's actually sitting there has done it for a longer time. There are certain players in this particular example, especially KL Rahul, that is given so much hate for this. But I think Panikel, if you want to play him, I think you give him a chance in the ODIs if you really want to play him. I think he deserves maybe give him 1 game or 2 games in the ODIs. I don't mind Shaw sitting out in the ODIs, honestly. But T20s, I think this is, as you said, it's a dress rehearsal for the World Cup for these guys. They can stake their claims. So I really want Shaw and Dhawan to start all 3, and then we'll see what happens.
All right, fair enough. Eddie, Jin, what do you think? A variation on that at all?
Yeah, for me, Shaw's massive. Look, what's Panikel going to give you? He's going to give you what Rohit, Dhawan, Kohli give you, right? That is kind of a 70 or 50 balls or something like that. I think what India needs is an injection at the top of the order, right? We're a bit obsessed with, scoring 50s, right? What we need a guy, and Shaw possibly could do this, which goes 40 off 20 balls or 20 off 9 balls, something like that, right? I think that's what we need more than these players that kind of, take the game deep, 15 overs and stuff like that. So I think India need to look at this strategically and think, a bit like, when Suresh Raina used to play one-day cricket, yeah? He was that guy that he never got you 50s, but he changed the gears. And I think we need that up front in the 2020 format if we are to challenge England, or West Indies. beating like Australia, possible. Pakistan, possible. But if you want to beat the teams that have the strong 2020 teams, I think that's where you can potentially get them extra 20-30 runs that you need.
Yeah, and talking about sort of the gears, if anyone saw that England-Pakistan match yesterday, we saw some serious gears being going through yesterday, right? That innings by Livingston, who knew he had that in his locker, right? Absolutely amazing. But look, going back to this squad, so are we all in agreement then? So Dhawan and Shaw opening for the start of this series, right? Number 3, is Sky a dead cert in that spot? Are we going to play around with that at all? Do we think that he should get 6 matches back to back, ODIs and T20s, or has anyone got a variation on that at all? No, thumbs up. All right, good. Number 4, 5 then, right? So we had Samson and Manish Pandey in the ODI squad. What are we thinking for the T20 squad, right? I'm just going to bring up once again the squad. Do we think that anybody in that squad deserves to take the spot from either Sanju Samson or Manish Pandey that we've selected for the ODI series? Let's kick off with you, Sanchit. What do you think?
Well, I'll be a little bit unorthodox on this. In my ODI squad, I had Sanju Samson and Manish Pandey at number 4 and 5 respectively. But in the T20 squad, I'll just make one change to this. I'll have someone like Ishan Kishan at number 5, as Ahan rightly made a point that maybe playing both of them in the middle order, having that left and right combination could prove out to be a good thing for us. So we know that Ishan Kishan batted in the middle order for Mumbai Indians as well when he didn't used to open in 2018, 2019, and I think he did pretty well at that position. And we need that firepower in the middle order as well. Lots of time in T20s, we see India being heavily dependent on the top three's performances, and then after that, we don't. We always used to have a collapse, or maybe we couldn't finish well when in that 3 to 5 number position. So maybe someone like Ishan Kishan, a young blood, as we saw in the recently concluded India-England series. We saw how Ishan Kishan batted at top of the order. Maybe if we could see something similar from him in the middle order, I think that could really work out well for us. As we saw what Pakistan did yesterday versus England, I think Ishan Kishan and Sanju Samson would be my number 4 and number 5 for this T20 leg, and I'm really hoping that these two are going to just reignite the flames in the middle order of the Indian cricket team for the years to come.
All right, brilliant. So we've got Samson at 4, where you had him also in the ODI squad, and you've gone with Ishan Kishan at 5. Rav, what's your thinking? Would you go with Sanchit, or would you mix up a little bit?
So I would just make one change. I'll just go Pandey out, Kishan in.
Pandey out, Kishan in. All right, good stuff, right? So pretty much similar to Sanchit. And Jim, what about yourself?
Yeah, same. Kishan definitely has to play. I mean, he had a great debut versus England. I think he's very unselfish in the way he plays. He plays the situation. So I definitely have Kishan and Samson as well.
Yeah, it's something about Ishan Kishan that I really like. If I was to use a football analogy, for me, he's a little bit like how Jack Grealish. I don't know if anyone kind of agrees, right? He's got this tremendous talent, and you just got to find a way to get him in that squad and just let him play natural game. Yeah, I don't know if anyone agrees with me, Math.
Yeah, no, he makes things happen, and I think he's a positive energy on the squad. You know, in a similar way that Grealish kind of brings everybody around and kind of brings standards up and levels up. So you only have to look at Mumbai Indians, and that guy was on the fringes of the squad when his attitude was not what it needed to be, and then he had a breakout tournament. So you can see he's rated by the likes of Mahela, etc. So if he can do it in a high pressure environment such as MI all these years in a row, then you'd have to think that he can really bring the levels up. And more importantly, something that we often talk about is the top 3 don't like to hit over the top that often early on. With Kishan, and we saw this against England, even to somebody like Rashid, who bowled really well opening the bowling, is that he will hit over the top because he's got very strong hands to do that. So I would definitely have him in. I think he gives India many options, and he's also a bit of a 360 player, and we don't have many of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know how much Ahan loves the England football team. Ahan, do you think that Ishan Kishan is Team India's Jack Grealish? What's your thought? Would you have him in?
I don't actually. I actually quite like Jack Grealish as a player. out of all the England team. That's the only player I actually like. But Jack Grealish, I think our Jack Grealish is Rishabh Pant, not Ishan Kishan. But and that's for me. I'd give Kishan the spot in the team at 5. As I said in the ODIs as well. Actually, I had that, but I'd have Sky, Samson, Kishan because I think one of them is a serious shot for the World Cup, and I think you give the 3 of them a chance and you see which one. It's literally like an audition. It's like 3 of you compete against each other. Whoever does the best, you're playing, because I think we are forgetting, but there's Shreyas Iyer, who's also there, and I think he's a certainty to be in the squad because he's done it for a few years now, and he's also my captain, but that's irrelevant. He's I think he's a shoe-in, and I just hope that we don't mess around with that because he's done it for 2 years. It's going to be, otherwise it'll end up being like what we did in 2019 World Cup with Raidu, where he kicked him out last minute. I don't know why, but I think for the 3 of them, it's an audition, and you give the 3 of them a chance, and you say whoever plays the best, you have a better. You're in.
Yeah, fair point. I kind of agree with you. I think definitely an audition over the next few ODIs between Sky, Samson, and Ishan Kishan in terms of sort of who might cement a spot in that squad for 2023. We're moving down to now the sort of bowling all-rounders. We had Hardik Pandya and Krunal Pandya in at 6 and 7 on the ODI squad. Are we going to mess around with that? Everyone happy with that? Let's start off with Sanchit.
Well, actually, to be honest, for starters, I'll be happy with both the Pandya brothers retaining that their position at number 6 and 7. But I don't know why I'm getting this kind of a sense of a feeling that if we are going to play someone like Krunal Pandya in the ODIs, we might end up playing Krishnappa Gautam in the T20s, because we have seen Gautam's ability to hit those long balls for sixes with the bat. He used to do it regularly for Rajasthan Royals when he was with us in 2018, and also he bowls. I think if you want to compare both the players in terms of their bowling, I think Gautam would be a little bit better as compared to Krunal. So maybe I'll have Krishnappa Gautam in my team for starters at number 7. Because if Krunal is starting the ODI leg, then I would definitely want Gautam to be in the T20 leg. And if Gautam is going to play in the at number 7, then just for safety purposes, because we are backing Gautam the bowler more than Krunal Pandya the bowler, then at number 11 I'll have someone like Chetan Sakaria in place of an extra spinner in the ODI squad that we have just made. So apart from that, I think we wouldn't go any wrong even if we pick someone like Krunal Pandya as well.
So would you go with Hardik Pandya and Gautam, or Krunal to start with? Sanchit's gone for a second, so let's go on to Rav. Rav, would you have Hardik Pandya and Krunal, or would you go with Gautam as your number 7 spot?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Mumbai Indians duo that obviously know how to win titles and know how to handle the pressure. And I think, obviously we look at the technical elements, we look at batting and bowling, but we've got to think about that big game experience of winning titles. And, we're in a situation where we have multiple players winning lots of franchise titles and the national side not winning any. So those two can bring that edge and that steeliness. And I think Jim makes a really good point earlier that through adversity, I've just got a feeling that those guys walk away with the trophy this year, because I think there's been a lot of hardness for them, and I'd like to see them come away with some good stuff at the end of it.
All right. And while we've got you, Rav, who would you have as your sort of bowlers, 8, 9, 10, 11 in this squad? We had Bhuvi, Saini, Kuldeep and Yuzi in the ODI squad.
Yeah, so I'm just going to make a few changes there. I'm going to bring in Varun Chakravarti. He's going to come in for Chahal.
Yeah.
I am going to keep Kuldeep there because I think for me it's a longer term thing with Kuldeep, and I don't view it as just about getting to a particular series for him. For the other parts of the side, I do. So I'm going to bring in Varun Chakravarti. I'm going to take Saini out, and I'm going to put in Deepak Chahar because I know that economy-wise he's very, very good, and also he's a very potent swing bowler at the beginning. So I'll probably bowl him all the way through as well.
Keeping Bhuvi at number 8?
Yeah, Bhuvi stays at 8.
Okay. And very, very quickly, Sanjay, are you back? Who would you have as your 8, 9, 10, 11?
as compared to the ODI squad that I selected, at number 9, 10, 11, I'll have Deepak Chahar and 8, 9, 10, I'll have Deepak Chahar and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar.
Yeah.
In place of Saini, I'll bring back Deepak Chahar because Deepak Chahar in the T20 format, I think he's been sensational, and also he gives you that extra batting option as well at if things goes dicey with our batting. So Bhuvi and Deepak Chahar to be our frontline seamers with that new ball, and those two boys can really swing the ball all around. And my two spinners, this is where I think I'll go a little bit controversial. I'm not sure if controversial could be the right word, but I'll have Rahul Chahar as my frontline spinning option. But if I have someone like Krishnappa Gautam in my squad, then I'll definitely look at Gautam as my second spinning option to be partnering with someone like Rahul Chahar. And at number 11, I'll go in with the wild card entry in my squad, and that is the Rajasthan Royals player Chetan Sakaria. I think he is going to be a great asset for Team India in the near future. And with the left arm pace, the rarity of left arm pacers in Indian cricket, I think he could be a great asset. And as you rightly made the point about Ishan Kishan being the Jack Grealish of the Indian cricket team, then I'll have Chetan Sakaria as the Bukayo Saka of the Indian cricket team, and that is where I think we could strike the opponents, because we don't know the opponents wouldn't know what to expect of Chetan Sakaria, having not seen too much of him. So maybe going in with the wild card entry at number 11 could be a great move for the future in order to build a great side.
Sanchit, do you support Rajasthan Royals and Arsenal by any chance? Are they your teams?
No comments.
All right, Jin, let's get over to you. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Who are they?
So the Pandya brothers, definitely. Bhuvi I'll have, definitely. I'll go. So for my pace bowling option, I'm going to go Sakaria as well, right? I agree with Sanchit. India lacks left arm pace bowlers, right? So I think we need to find one. So we need to know what this guy's made up of in international cricket. Look, Deepak Chahar, should get a place in the team, but he would not make my place in this team because we know what he offers. We know what Deepak Chahar does. The aim is to find out what another guy can do. So Sakaria makes it for me. I'd have Varun because I believe we need a mystery spinner. So he plays ahead of Chahal. And I'd probably, like Rav said, Kuldeep Yadav's kind of long term. So I want to give him games. I want to give him overs. So I'd probably keep him.
Okay, so you're going to have Bhuvi in at 8. You're going to have Sakaria, Varun and Sakaria, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. And Rav, what about yourself? Would you agree with Jin? Are you going to go with slightly different options?
Yeah, no, very much the same. Varun Chakravarti in for Chahal. And then we're going to go for... I'm going to go Deepak Chahar just because I think we might know what he gives, but obviously he's on the tour. So I think, for me, it's more about just getting more international overs in for people who are going to be on that flight, hopefully. And I think he's gives us a lot of options. Really, really potent swing bowler, and somebody who can bowl the first 4 up front as well to build pressure.
All right, brilliant. All right, so before we finish, we've got Ahan. Ahan, let's get your final 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see if you're agreeing with the rest of the lads.
So I've got Hardik and Krunal at 6 and 7. Over here, I'll actually give Krunal the T20s, not the ODIs. And I don't think Gautam will get T20s because I think Krunal is a borderline player possibility for the World T20. So I'd give him the chance to showcase what he can do. Then Bhuvi, obviously 8. Deepak, I play Deepak Chahar at 9. I know we know what he does, but I honestly think he's. If you're looking at the World Cup, I think the pace bowlers are kind of decided, and everyone's kind of forgetting we do have a left arm spin seamer, T. Natarajan, who's going to be at the World Cup. He's just not here right now, so we don't really need to play someone just for the sake that he's left-handed. But having said that, if they want to play 2 spinners, including Krunal as their second spinner, then I can see Sakaria playing as a third seamer, but I wouldn't play him as a second seamer. And then I've got Varun Chakravarti, obviously, because I think he should be at the World Cup. And I know Virat Kohli is obsessed with fitness and all that, but I think for the sake of Varun Chakravarti, I think it should be what he offers is a bit like Ajanta Mendes. And even though it might not last for too long, I think if you throw him in just for the World T20, and let him play, I think he could be like a match winner for us because not a lot of people have seen him play. He's not like that well known, and a mystery spinner, almost all good teams have one. So I think we need that because we don't have a like Rashid Khan who's like insane with his leg spin anyway. So you don't need a mystery spinner, but I think we should definitely play him. And I think he has a serious shot for the World T20, especially given our spinners are not really cementing themselves. And last position. So again, if you want to play only 2 spinners, then I'd play Sakaria here. But for me, I'd start with Rahul Chahar because I think Yuzvendra Chahal is kind of done in T20s. I don't really rate him anymore. And I know Kuldeep is Kuldeep. I know this long-term thing, but I honestly think don't play him in T20s because T20s you get hit. Even if you get, like someone goes after you, can get hit. And I don't think he needs that right now. So play him in ODIs and let him sit out the T20s and play Rahul Chahar because I think he's looked really good. So my 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 would be Hardik, Krunal, Bhuvi, Deepak, Varun Chakravarti, and Rahul Chahar.
All right, so we've got a real mixed bag of opinion, right, for the 8, 9, 10, and 11 choices, right? But for the point of time, I'm just going to select who I think our 11 should be. Looking at sort of the consensus here, Dhawan and Shaw and Sky as your 1, 2, 3. Samson and Kishan as our 4 and 5, Hardik Pandya and Krunal as our 6 and 7, and really 8, 9, 10, 11, it could be a bit of a lottery, right? I think we've got lots of choice there. But I'm going to go with Bhuvi, Deepak Chahar, Sakaria and Varun Chakravarti. I think that's a good starting 11 for the T20 series. We've obviously got 2 more matches to come, and let's see what these boys can do. So that brings us to the end of our India versus Sri Lanka white ball series preview. Thank you to our resident guests, Sanchit, JC, Rav and Han. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. We look forward to supporting Team India from tomorrow onwards. We'll be back at the end of the white ball series with the white ball series review, and let's see how many of these predictions that we made actually will come true. And also, let's see if anyone puts their hand up, right, for the T20 World Cup that's to follow, right? So, once again, this is Baradami, BATV Fan Dusra Show. We'll be back very, very soon with the next episode. I hope to see you then soon.
Join the Bharat Army at the T20 World Cup. Visit bharatharmy.com and register your interest to join us in the stands as we cheer for Team India.